guys, welcome to another episode of A Drummer's Guide to. So this week I'm going to talk about NAMM! So NAMM is a music show that happens in Anaheim every year, and I got back from going there 2 weeks ago. So the last time I was there was 11 years ago, and I feel like it took me 11 years to get over the last time I went to NAMM, but I decided to go this year, and I had an absolute ball. It was so much fun, full of just wonderful people, some of which I had known before I got there, so I met some new people and made some new friends, and it was just such a lovely experience. But I wanted to share with you just a little bit about NAMM and also how I sort of survived it, I suppose, because it is a bit of an onslaught, and that's kind of putting it mildly. I feel anyone that's been to NAMM, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So it is the biggest music show in the world in terms, it's more for dealers. I'd love to tell you what it stands for right now, but the acronym escapes me. I think it's the National Association for Music Manufacturers? I can't remember, but anyway, what it is it's music companies that come and show off their new product to the music world, to the dealers, and that's the crux of what the show is. What it is, at least as I see it, is a bunch of musicians coming out to California, hanging out, making friends, chatting about music and loads of other rubbish, and just generally having a really nice time. But as I say, it is a mental environment because it is this massive conference centre. I can't express to you how big it is, and it is just full of equipment. And I mean, you go to the drum world part of things, and it is loud, like so loud and very intense. There's slightly quieter pockets of places, like the pro audio section is a little bit quieter, which is quite nice, but there are, I can't remember how many people come through the doors. It's something mad, like 80,000 people over the course of 4 days, or it may even be more than that. But it is amazing, and if you have the chance to go, I would absolutely recommend that you do, especially if you're a musician, especially if you're a professional musician or wanting to be a professional musician. It is just a great place to be. And I want to just go through, first of all, I just need to make the point that, you know, a lot of people ask me, what should I be doing to become a professional, to get to the next level, to get more work, blah 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 blah. The number one thing that I always say is to be getting out there and meeting people. And I'm not saying that you should necessarily go to any conference show, anywhere actually. I don't think you should go anywhere with the intention of, I'm only going here to get work or to further my career. I don't think that's a very good attitude to come to anything with. The only reason I say that is that you get a gut instinct from people sometimes where you're like, why, like, what, you have an agenda, and I don't know, I'm quite sensitive to it. I may be overly sensitive to it. I'm trying to be better with that, but it really creeps me out if I get that vibe from someone. So for me, going to NAMM is literally about going and making lots of new friends. That makes me sound like such a loner, and I probably am. I mean, a habit of a lifetime, but I literally was like, especially because, alright, sorry, I'm going to go off on a slight tangent. I know you're used to this. But so if you don't know, I run a remote recording studio called emilydrums.com. I record drums for anyone in the world that needs drums on their music. They send me their files, I record in my studio here, and then I send them back. Right, that's the quick pitch of what that is. I'm quite new to that world of recording, of studios, of home studios, of remote recording, all of that. I've only been in this world for, it's coming up to 4 years now, I guess. And along the way I've met some just amazing musicians and people and studio owners and just people in that world that I have only ever met over podcast interviews or over email. You know, my clients, I literally have never met them. We just chat over email and that's sort of it. And I know them through their music, but never met them in the flesh. And I just thought, you know what? I bet there will be tons of these people at this NAMM show. And B, like, it would be so great to be able to just go and say hi, like, face to face, and really get a feel for these people, because there's so many people that I've chatted to and just thought, God, they seem lovely, they seem so nice, and I'd love to just, I don't know, be in their presence. I guess it just comes down to that. So anyway, I don't know why I went off on this tangent, but the point is that nothing really beats meeting people in real life and just being able to have a conversation where you can see the whites of their eyes, and just have a connection, because this is a world of music. Music is about connection. Whether you are the person who is writing something and going, hello, this is my soul, do you like it? Or you're the one listening going, oh my gosh, this person, like, I get it, I'm in, like, I'm right there with them. To be able to actually see that person and have a conversation, so it's not so one-sided, I guess, is a wonderful thing. So if you do get the chance to go to anything, any sort of like event where there are going to be musicians that maybe you know already slightly, or maybe you want to get to know, just have the opportunity to say hello. It might even be the opportunity just to go, hi, I love what you do, I just wanted to tell you that. The number of times I've done that in my life, I can't even count. And I love being able to know that I've said that to them. Whether it means anything to them or not, that's a different matter, but to me, I need to know that I have expressed that gratitude to someone, because, you know, it takes a lot to put music out there and put yourself out there. So anyway, right, with all that being said, I just want to take you through what my plan was to basically not go crazy. Like I said, I'd been to NAMM 11 years previous. I knew that it was going to be intense. I knew that it was going to be loud. This may seem strange for me to say this. I'm a very introverted person, and which I know probably seems ridiculous, because I seem to spend my life just going blah, 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 blah. I'm a very introverted person. What that means is that there's only so much energy that I can give in like a conversation or a social situation, and then it's almost like the shutters come down and I'm like, okay, I'm done, I need to recharge. So I know that about myself. It's not a flaw, it's just who I am. But I also know that I need to put things in place to make sure that I'm at my best. I'm making the most of the situation, and I have to do things to make sure that's okay. Okay, right, let's just get into it. So the first thing I say, if you're going to NAMM or any music conference show, or in fact any musical situation ever that has any sort of live instruments involved, earplugs. Number one thing. For a second I thought I forgot my earplugs, and I felt like the biggest idiot ever, but I didn't, so it was fine. And to be fair, there were earplugs there that I could have bought. But anyway, earplugs, number one, definitely, because just the general nature of loud life, loud things in life, they wear down your ears, they will wear you down. Like, it will make you more tired if you are constantly trying to process loud things, and especially if you're trying to talk within that realm as well. So earplugs, number one thing. The second thing is I have this less now, which is great, but for a very long time I had massive anxiety when it came to talking to people, which is weird because I love people and I love people's stories, and I've always been obsessed with people's journeys, how they've got to where they are at that point, and all that sort of stuff. Always been obsessed by that. However, my anxiety would override that, and I'd just be like, oh my gosh, I can't talk to anyone. So a long time ago, I worked out a way of dealing with that, and what it is for me is purely just asking someone about themselves. And the reason that I was so scared, I did manage to work it out. I was terrified that someone would, this is why I was anxious about talking to people, I was terrified that someone would ask me questions and then they would find out that actually, you know, I'm very boring. I'm not very cool. I'm really odd or weird, and they wouldn't want to be my friend, basically. And literally, it stems back from me being about 5 years old. This anxiety, unbelievable. But anyway, that's something to talk to a therapist about, I'm sure. But yeah, but what I worked out was that if I ask people about themselves, I could usually find something about, like I said, I'm fascinated by people anyway, but being able to find something, like talk to someone that is passionate about something, that I'm in, like, instantly. If I see that spark that you get when you know, you can see it in people when they talk about stuff, and I would just be, that inspires me, that makes me want to ask more questions. If I'm really lucky, then maybe they'll hit on something that I also have an interest in, which is great, but I'm all up for learning. So if someone's really passionate about, I don't know, accountancy, right? That might seem like the most boring thing to some people, but if I talk to someone, and this has happened, where they're like, I'm like, oh, what do you do? And like, oh, I'm an accountant, and I'd just be like, oh, cool. Like, do you enjoy what you do? And they'd just be like, oh, I love what I do. And I'm like, oh my God, right, tell me about it. What do you love? Like, I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with people. But anyway, so that is my number one thing. I will always steam in and ask people about themselves. It comes from a place of insecurity, because I don't want people to think that I'm not good enough for them to talk to, but it actually ends up being a really nice way to really get to know people. I do have a slight flaw in this, and this is my personal flaw. My memory is horrendous. So, but it does remember really strange little nuggets of facts about people, and what that means is that I cannot see someone for 5 years. I won't remember their name. I might recognise their face, but not remember where from. I won't remember anything normal about them. However, as soon as I remember that I do know this person, I'll go, wasn't your daughter doing judo 5 years ago? How's that going? And they will just look at you like you're absolutely mental. But that's my cross to bear. It's fine. I'm happy with it. I freak people out. It's fine. So that's my main thing in terms of anxiety, of meeting people and chatting to them, and that's how I get over that. The second thing I do is that I try and sort of keep a gauge on how I'm feeling energy-wise, because, as I say, it's a loud environment. You're talking to people a lot. There's a lot of energy going back and forth, and my energy does deplete. It does. I kind of get to a point where I suddenly feel quite shell-shocked, I suppose. I'm not sure if that's the right term, because that might be a bit sort of intense. I'm sure it is. But very overwhelmed. Definitely overwhelmed, and just like, I feel like my face has been ripped off all of a sudden, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do with myself. So at that point, I literally will just walk out of a situation, not in the middle of a conversation, obviously. I might sort of end the conversation, and what you have to remember about NAMM, it's a long event. You will run into people more than once. You know, it isn't one and done, generally speaking. So I'll just be like, cool, right guys, I'm gonna go. For me, it's really great. There's not a lot of girls kicking about, at least this year. There were a few, and that was amazing, but mostly I was chatting to lads, so I can just say, just gotta go to the loo, and it's like, right, I'm off. Because though if there was a girl, they might go, oh yeah, I'll come to the loo as well, actually, and that would scupper my plan. But you're like, right, I'm just going to nip to the loo, and then it's like, cool, right, I'm going to go find a corner, and I would go sit, I don't know, either outside there's a big fountain on the outside of the building. I would just go sit there and stare into space for a little while, or I'd just go find a corner, sit on the floor, just watch people walk by, just things like that, and just kind of breathe. Basically, I would just sit and breathe and just go, okay, right, it's cool, take this time, don't talk, don't think, you're here, it's fine. You don't need to be doing everything every second that you're here, just relax. All right, cool, fine. And then I would just take my time. Maybe I'd go get something to eat as well. That was the other thing, keeping an eye on that. Oh, the other thing, I always had, and I always have, my water bottle. So making sure that I was hydrated was like the most massive thing for me. That always seems to be. So yeah, so making sure that I have time to just relax and just sort of like regroup. The other thing is, the hotel that I was staying in was like a 10-minute walk away. So if I was really tired, which usually wasn't till the end of the day, I would just go back to my room and sit in silence and just go, okay, and decompress, and that's fine. And I ended up buying some like fresh food, some fresh fruit, some fresh vegetables, and I would like make sure that I ate that so that I had some sort of nutrition, because it's so easy to eat absolute rubbish at things like this. In fact, generally in life, so you got to try and make a bit of an effort. So the other thing that I would do when I was sort of taking this time to regroup and refresh. I'd never have a nap, by the way, because I don't do well with naps. I usually just end up feeling really groggy and gross. So no naps for me. But what I would do in this time when I was sat, and that was either in my hotel room just going, oh my gosh, or sat, watching the people walk by and just trying to switch off or whatever, and make a plan. So I would sit and I would think about how I was feeling. So for instance, if I'd have just met a lot of new people in, say, the recording world, which is a new world to me, therefore when people tell me information, it's a lot, because when you first start learning something, you don't necessarily have all the lingo down, you don't have all the points of references that they do, so you have to work extra hard to kind of like remember them or just kind of work out what people are saying. So it takes a lot of brain power. But lucky for me, if I'd have been in that situation for a time and I'm like, whew, I'm exhausted, I'm super lucky because I'm a drummer as well, and there is a whole drum department, and there are a whole, I'm going to say, slew of people. I'm not sure if that's the right word, and I hope it's not a horrible term, because I mean it in the most wonderful way. There's a whole group of people in drum world, as I like to call it, who I've known for a very long time, that I can just go and be. I can just exist and just be, hi, how are you? And give people big cuddles, because I've known them for like 15, 20 years, and just be like, cool, I'm in a safe space, if you like. These people are not new to me. They've known me long enough to know exactly what I'm like, and they accept me, which is very much the drum community all round. In fairness, I must say, the pro audio and recording community, very similar, so accepting and so lovely and kind and welcoming. So anyway, so that's what I would do. I would bit that between the pro audio lot and the drum lot, and it was kind of like going to the drum lot was kind of a recharge and just centering myself and going, right, this is stuff that I know, cool, okay, I'm not the worst person on the planet, right, cool, I'm good, let me go back to pro audio, or let me go back to my hotel, or just be okay with saying, the day's over, Emily, go home and chill. That's the other thing, is that I think being okay with basically just not succumbing to the FOMO thing, the fear of missing out thing, is a massive part of it, because you can easily run yourself down to the ground. I can't actually explain, because I don't know. There are so many different events going on within this conference. So there's like talks going on, there's demos, there's showcases, there's gigs, like there's so much going on. You can't physically do all of it. So you kind of need to be like, it's okay, I don't need to do it all right now. What is the best thing for me right now? Maybe it is going and getting an early night, or maybe not. Maybe it's going off to a party that I was invited to, because that's the other thing. People are so friendly at NAMM, like so friendly. They'll be like, oh, what are you up to tonight? I'm like, oh, I'm not really sure. Why don't you come out to this thing? And I'm like, okay, great, yeah, I'd love to. That's really lovely. Like, I barely know you, but that's really sweet. And that happened to me a couple of times, and it ended up just being the most lovely evenings, because they were so unexpected, with so many unusual people, and ended up, like I say, making some really great new friends, which is just the best thing ever. So the only thing I think I've got left to say is that's it. That's kind of my way of dealing with it, or the way that I dealt with it. All I know is, right, at the end of NAMM in 2009, which is the last one that I went to, I came out of there just going, I am never coming back to this. It's absolutely insane. Why would anyone want to be here? That was me in 2009. Me in 2020 came out of there going, I can't wait for next year. I already just want to book up to get in next year. I'm hoping that my diary doesn't clash with it. But I just it was intense, but it was so much fun. It was so much fun, and like I said, I made so many new friends, and you know when you just go, wow, people are amazing. There was so much of that going on, and it wasn't just the people that I was having one-on-one conversations with. There was a lot of that, but it was also like certain seminars that I went to. Like I'll give you a very quick thing. So if you've watched my video about the one thing that I tell all people to do to become a better musician, is to record yourself and listen back. Right. So that aside, I went to this seminar under the umbrella of this thing called Mix with the Masters. It's for mix engineers, you know, how to get better mixes with the music that you're creating, or all that sort of stuff. And they were having these amazing mix engineers, producers, all sorts there. And I happened across it when this producer called Greg Wells was doing a talk. And I have a very tenuous link with Greg Wells. I don't know him. I think I might have met him once, but I mean, there's no way he would remember me. And I happened to be there when he was doing his seminar. He's just coming on stage, and I was like, oh, that's really weird. I notice things like that when there's strange little connections that you're like, oh, that's slightly strange. Anyway, the point is, he started doing this seminar, and honestly, he gave a bit of advice to this group of people, and there's probably about 50 people there, that was as profound as that bit of advice that I was given. I won't tell you what it is, only because I need to try it myself and I need to work with it for a bit, and then I will say it, and I will always credit him for it, but it literally ripped my face off, and I was I don't care, it's you guys. I was almost in tears. He was so open and so vulnerable and so human when it's not even that you'd expect something different, because I don't think I would, but to be that honest to a group of people in a very open, like, as in, like, by open I mean a big room of people just walking by, and it's very, like, casually walking by. He had a lot of people that were very engaged, but it wasn't as if it was this small, tight-knit group of people. It was like, here's 50 random people. I'm going to be really open and honest and vulnerable, and it just really, it floored me, to be honest. I consequently absolutely need to touch base with him and just be like, I just need to say, that was amazing. But I can't even remember why I'm saying that either. But all I'm going to say is, if you get the chance to go to NAMM, go to music shows, go to gigs, go to, I don't know, drum shows, go to anything. Just go meet people. And I hope that this kind of, like, I don't know, this gameplay, helps you in some way. Because, yeah, if you can find a way to make it work, it really can benefit you, not just in your career. And like I say, don't go with that intention. It's not nice, I don't think, and it comes across. It might be low level, but it will come across. Don't go with that intention, like, let that be a byproduct, but just to go meet some new humans and have some new influence within your life. Because I think the more people you meet, the more opportunities that happen, and the more synapses that go off, and the more ideas that you might get from being inspired by a random conversation that you have with a random person that you never would have met otherwise. Anyway, I'm going to go. I'm sorry. This has been a little longer than I anticipated, but I hope you're having a lovely day wherever you are, whatever you're up to. If you have any questions for me, or if you'd like me to answer anything yourself, then please leave a comment in the comment section, and I would be happy to do a video to answer your questions and queries. But yeah, I hope you're having a lovely day wherever you are, and I'm going to love you, leave you, and see you next week for another subject. Alright, see you later, guys. Love you loads. Bye.